Hey guys, welcome back to the Spanish language learning portion of my blog. In this section I'm gonna talk about some DVDs I've been using, some various resources. I'm a huge believer in DVDs. Many things I've taken out of the public library, some things that I have found along the way, some things that I've copied from other people that I probably shouldn't have, and in general, just some very good language learning resources that I can't recommend enough. So the ones that I do not actually currently have in my possession, but I've used in the past, I'm going to read to you a list and kind of describe what they are while focusing on these that are copies from the New York Public Library, as well as some others that I've used that I actually do have the original DVDs still here on my shelf. So the Educational Video Network, which is, I've never heard of them, but it's something that the New York Public Library has many copies of for Spanish and German specifically. I think they might have some French stuff too. They have a series, and the tapes that I watched, which were very dry, very boring, but very helpful as far as memorization or just kind of reminding myself of conjugations and things go. These were Spanish adjectives and adverbs, Ser y Estar, a DVD that was like 15 minutes long or whatever, just explaining the different uses of the two forms of to be, ser and estar. For those of you who don't know what that is, you have no business even being at my Spanish blog. But for those of you who know what that is, you know that there are many times we get confused which one to use. That was a pretty good DVD. It explained that. Another one on the AR verbs, the ER verbs, the IR verbs. Let's see. There was a series I took out of the public library, I think, or maybe I watched it from Netflix. I don't know. My notes here don't tell me. It's called Master It Spanish. You know what? Actually, I think these might have been the standard deviant ones. Let's see. Yeah, these were the standard deviants. I took these out of the public library. These are really were excellent. It's the Standard Deviants Master It series for Spanish. It's 3 discs. The first one was called The Basics. If you guys don't know about Standard Deviants, they're really funny. They're very charming and attractive college students. Just really a fun, humorous way to learn basics of a language. So it was a 3 DVD set. They had the basics, they had Beyond the Basics, and then they had Building on the Basics, which was still kind of advanced beginner stuff, but it was good stuff. Let's see. If I'm not mistaken, because I didn't know, I had no way of knowing, so I took them out a second time from the public library where they were packaged under a different title, and that series was called Habla Español as opposed to Master It. And to be honest, unless I'm having an Alzheimer's moment at age 40, it seemed like those were the exact same discs, just packaged with different packaging. Maybe one of them came out in 1995 and the other one came out in 2003 or whatever, who knows. So they were called Habla Español, the Basics, Building on the Basics, which is the same as the other one we had, and then Learn Advanced Spanish Verbs, which was cool. Then another one that I took out of Netflix, actually, that I watched was called Learn Spanish, Spanish for Travelers. And this was a series put out by a very charming Spanish lady in her 30s or 40s. I'm not sure how old she is. I don't remember her name. I want to say it's Lupe something or other. She does a very good job of, she's a native speaker, I think Mexican Spanish. She does a very good job of teaching people basic Spanish skills from scratch, and then also applicable to traveling around as a tourist and stuff. And she has a whole bunch of CDs, or DVDs rather. If I remember correctly, they are called Learn Spanish. You can get them from Netflix. And yes, I'm correct. There's Learn Spanish Level 1, Learn Spanish Level 2, Learn Spanish Level 3, and Learn Spanish, Spanish for Travelers. I did take all of them out of Netflix. I watched all of them. And I think each one was about an hour and a half long, something like that. I was able to fast forward through some of them because there was a lot on the screen, and it was tables of verbs and conjugations and stuff, and I didn't really need to listen to the audio because I know how to pronounce it. And then also I have here another one on my list that I think I took out of Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. It's called Spanish for Everyone, and I believe that's actually acted out and written by the guy who wrote Spanish for Gringos, which is a Barron's series book. It's a workbook that you write in, and it's kind of, as far as I know, there's at least two of them. I'm currently working my way through the intermediate Spanish for Gringos workbook right now, and it's pretty helpful. It's good stuff. I'm not a big fan of workbooks, but I know I need to because I really want to work on my written Spanish skills so I can start typing Spanish emails to people. Let's go back now to these that I'm showing here. These are from the New York Public Library. This is actually Watch and Learn Spanish with Professor Toto. I can't recommend this series enough. They have Spanish, Italian, French, German, and Chinese, and I've been able to either take out from the public library or purchase on Amazon.com the basics of all of those, and the Chinese ones for Mandarin Chinese are truly excellent. These are primary target language resources, no subtitles. Each set comes with 2 DVDs. It comes with an English language DVD, which is the entire program in English. You just watch it in English, and then you can watch it again in the target language, in this case Spanish. I don't need the English because the Spanish is simple enough that I can understand 100% of it without subtitles, but it reminds me of the basic uses of the verbs and basic adjectives and nouns, etc. It's really good. This particular one, which is called Eric Goes to School, it just shows basically the professor and one of his students. They were in the wheelbarrow there. They talk about this kid Eric, and they show a scene from like a day in his life. He's a kindergarten student or a first grade student or something, and through that you learn a lot of vocabulary about clothing and time of day and things in the classroom and animals and food and mother, father, sister, brother, grandparents, all that stuff. Then this is the part 2 of it that I took out of the public library. This is Watch and Learn Spanish with Professor Toto part 2, which is called Professor Toto's House, and it's just more vocabulary, more stuff. It's great. This is a Hello Kitty DVD in Spanish. It's in English, but it has Spanish language and Spanish subtitles, if I'm not mistaken. I picked this up at the used DVD store down the street from me in Park Slope. This is truly excellent. I can't recommend enough that when you're first learning a language, you should get really juvenile, just ridiculously poo-poo, foo-foo cartoons. Hello Kitty is great if you can get over the foo-foo factor. It's very juvenile. It's for like 4 and 5-year-olds at best. Everything is like la 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 la. But the language is really straightforward. It's very simple. Usually they have very pleasing voiceover artists that do the overdubs, and this has been a really great one to study from. Let's see what else I have here. I have some Plaza Sésamo, Vamos a Cantar, and Me Gusta Ser Yo. These are Sesame Street in Spanish. These are great. I got these off of Amazon and then actually sold them back, but kept a copy for myself. I'm not supposed to do that, I know, but they're excellent language learning resources. And I can't recommend enough using Sesame Street to study foreign language when you're learning as an adult. They're really fun. The puppets are great. The songs are great. Just really good stuff. I'm going to do another video in a second on some of the movies I've been watching in Spanish, where I've been watching them either in Spanish with English subtitles or in Spanish with Spanish subtitles. Last but not least, though, I want to show one thing. I need to walk over to my bookshelf here. Here's something else I took out of the public library, which, bear with me 1 second, we need to move this. Annenberg, which is a big educational media company, they put out a series in the 1992 called Destinos, An Introduction to Spanish. And I was lucky enough to actually be able to take out of the public library and copy for myself the entire series on DVD. I don't feel bad about doing that because you can actually stream the entire series for free from the Annenberg website. So I'm not getting any kind of knowledge that I shouldn't have or whatever. But this is great stuff. And I did actually go on Amazon and buy the original textbook and workbook for this series. Destinos is actually the #1 Spanish language learning